And I'm going to turn on the chat. Okay. All right. Well, welcome. It is Wednesday night. It is about 5-6 minutes after 7, and that means it's time for Keto Confab. I'm Elizabeth Hanson, your host, along with my husband, Scott Hanson. And welcome to November the 30th, last day of November. And we're going straight into the last month of the year. And with our group, we've been trying out a new thing where we tell our win of the week and what we're thankful for. And you don't have to join in if you don't want to. But I'm going to get that screen up so we can see it. Do you see that, Renee, Scott?
It's there we go. Yay, I can see it.
Okay. So what is my win of the week? I thought about making a gluten-free pizza, with a cauliflower crust and everything. But I decided not to because I knew I'd eat the whole thing and it would be a lot of carbs. And so that was my win, that I actually got it out of my head and decided not to do it. Because so many times when I think of eating something that's going to be too many carbs or too much sugar or whatever, or it's going to have a grain involved, I can't get it out of my head. But I actually got this out of my head. So that was my win. What do I want to work on this week? Well, it's my reoccurring theme of not giving in to my emotions, because when I'm under stress, what I want is sugar, either that or bread. But I mean, might as well be the same thing. And the one thing I'm grateful for. Well, I'm grateful for a great many number of things. But the one thing I'm grateful for is just being able to do my life, I mean, I could be disabled or I could not have a home or whatever, just living my life. So that's mine. So Scott, are you able to talk or are you munching on something?
Well, both actually. Yeah. I don't know. I think what I'm going to call my win of the week is that I did a 36-hour fast and didn't even mind it. So from about 9 p.m. Sunday until 9 a.m. Tuesday. But the thing is, so on. I usually don't eat breakfast anyway, but about 11 a.m. or around noon on Monday, I started feeling sick. And so I thought, well, I just won't eat anything. And I felt sick pretty much the rest of the day, and not extremely ill, but, went home from work early Monday and, but didn't eat anything, but I didn't feel weak or anything either though. And then I woke up Tuesday morning and I felt a little bit weak Tuesday morning, but didn't really have many of the symptoms. So I had just mostly body aches and headache, probably a low-grade fever off and on anyway. But yeah, Tuesday I didn't feel the symptoms very much, and so I thought I had improved, and so about, I don't know, 9 a.m., 10 a.m., something like that Tuesday morning, I did start eating things. So it felt fine Tuesday. So, that's, for me, it's a big win. I don't know if I've ever really fasted 36 hours. Although technically, this really wasn't, technically though, this was an easy fast because I didn't really feel very much like eating most of Monday anyway. But, a fast anyway. And I'm not quite sure, well, what I want to work on this week, I think is maybe improving my ability to talk to people about keto, spread the good word about keto. And I'm grateful that there are a lot of really good resources about keto. And in fact, I mean, there's a lot of really good resources that are free on YouTube about keto. There's the big video called Fat Fiction that I've sent to a number of people. And then, you know, of course, Dr. Boz has all sorts of keto instructional videos as well on YouTube. And so I think I'm grateful for all of that, all the resources that we've have available for, you know, spreading a lot of information about keto and explaining keto and things. So those are, I think that's it mainly for me.
And Miss Renee?
Well, let's see. I think my win of the week was I've got a really good patient that I've just started on the keto diet, and she's been doing great. I think her very first week she lost like 7 pounds, and for me the win is seeing her success. You know, because I've got her keeping a food journal, and I said, you know, the food journal is not about it's not about me being able to tell you what to do or to chastise you. It's first off, see what you are eating, see what time of day you're eating, because sometimes you could be really eating the right foods, but maybe it's the wrong time of day for you to eat those particular foods. I said, but the food journal that you're keeping is more to help you as you start this journey, because this way you're going to be able to track what you're eating and how much you're getting of something, as well as you can even track the number of carbs. I've gotten her started on the chronometer. She just ordered her Keto Mojo to track her blood glucose and her ketones, and she's got her food scales because she really wants to get into this and do it right and really measure up her food. So my win was kind of a win in that she told me about all the successes that she had over Thanksgiving, because, you know, she said, here I am surrounded by all this stuff that's my favorite things to eat over Thanksgiving. And she goes, and my dad even said, you're not going to eat my whatever it was. And she goes,
Yeah, pumpkin
I'm
pie.
on this keto diet and I can't. And now, and she did have one thing that she allowed herself to eat that was non-keto, and she says, I just want a spoonful. So she, you know, rather than, and this is what made her so proud, and how I was so proud of her. She goes, normally I'd have a huge mound of this stuff, and she goes, I had a spoonful. And she goes, what was interesting was that it didn't taste as wonderful as I thought it was going to taste. And she goes, it was good, but I was like, I can live without this. And so for me, that was such a win, because I've got her into a place where even just in the few weeks that she's been on this, she's got this down. And even though she lives in what I call a house divided, because, you know, she's just about the only one that's doing the keto, but she's slowly getting her boyfriend in on the idea, and he's tried some of her foods. She got the keto book you had sent me, that because I showed her the book, or I guess it was one you recommended, but anyway, and I said, well, this has got great recipes in it, and she is just loving that cookbook. And she's reading Dr. Boz's book. I've now got her starting to hook up with watching some good keto instructional videos. So to me, it's always a win when I can see someone who is making progress because of something I've helped them with. What I want to work on this week is getting back to my proper levels of water intake, because I kind of got off kilter I'm not too sure how I got off kilter, but I did, and I hadn't been drinking enough water. So I want to work on getting my hydration levels back up to where they need to be. So I quit having I actually had my first Charlie horse in, I don't know how long, but I was able to simply drink some water, and that quickly dissipated it, and I was able to go back to sleep. So I didn't have to do any get up and walk it out or anything else. So that was kind of great. What am I grateful for? Well, I'm always grateful that I've got wonderful friends like you and Scott and the other people I know around me that support me on this keto journey. It's kind of interesting because even I've got my pastor kind of on board on this too, because we had a Thanksgiving celebration at our church, and we had lunch after service, and then we always get together again Sunday evenings, and we have leftover whatever we had for Thanksgiving dinner. And he says, well, I'm going to make a stew. And he goes, what I can do is, he says, I'll make a part of my stew I'll make some of it that won't have all the vegetables in it that you can't have. And I was like, oh no, this is sweet. Thank you. So I'm just grateful that I've got people around me who support me on this journey.
Okay, great. Now, the other thing we like to do is currently we are working our way through the 12 myths that are in the beginning of Dr. Paul Oleda's book. And so I believe we're on myth number 8 this week. And so I'm going to find it. It's here somewhere. Here it is.
Did we lose a participant, or is my screen jacked up?
No, I believe Joni had to leave.
Oh, okay.
So, okay. So, number 8.
Tiny on my phone.
Diets work if you follow them. Now, this is a myth. Is this a myth? Who knows? People stop following diets because they're too hard to follow. Most diet plans have you do things that are not sustainable. Sure, you might quickly lose weight like I did when I was in my 20s, but that's the business model. They know you'll be back because once you come off these impossible restrictions, you'll pack the weight right back on. If you've been conditioned from birth to be addicted to sugar and processed foods, it's going to take more than a month of crash dieting to undo the conditioning that keeps you unhealthy. By the way, that's exactly why I didn't give you a fad diet to follow in this book. I teach you sustainable lifestyle changes that can maintain for the rest of your life. If you're successful on my program, you shouldn't need me anymore, unlike the other authors. I don't want repeat customers. I'm just trying to keep you off my surgery table so I don't watch you die. I work with people directly for 1 year. They see the results and the results stick. I see other people doing fad diet one fad diet after another and over while taking medications for 5 to 10 or 15 years. Medications are a subscription product. Big Pharma is not in the business of selling you products that you soon won't need anymore. Dietary changes don't have to be hard. What's hard is that you just have to hunker down for 30 days. Mentally, that teaches you to crave sugars and processed foods even more than before. You think of nothing else for those 30 days. Real, sustainable dietary changes don't make you miserable. You can eat in a way that makes you feel satisfied, not hungry, and not ridden with cravings, and you still get healthy. The truth is that there is not one ideal human diet. One diet cannot fit every person. There is no one right diet out there. Nothing on the market is guaranteed to help you, even for 30 days. There may be an ideal human diet, ancestrally speaking, We all essentially ate the same diet as we evolved. Food variety is unique to humans. Out in the wild, animals choose 3 or 4 foods that they specialize in finding. Prior to the period 10,000 to 50,000 years ago, humans were the same. We had no variety. We ate what was available where we lived. The problem today is everyone comes from a different place. Even when we try to eat healthy, we've got an entire grocery store full of options that our ancestors never had. And some of our ancestral dietary requirements differ. That means the food one person needs may not be right for the next person. Look at the way doctors prescribe medications. Each individual person has a different need, and their needs change over time. The same is true of dietary choices. What I offer you in this book is not a diet. It's a science-based, sustainable lifestyle changes to improve your metabolic health and your entire life. Now, our next myth is trying to lose weight by restricting calories always works. We all know that doesn't, but let's talk a little bit about this myth. Diets work if you follow them. So
Well,
what do you guys
I
think?
don't think that's true.
Um,
I mean, I've been on diets and followed them, I mean, to the nth degree, and did not lose the kind of weight that I've lost on keto.
mhm. What I think about is my father and a lot of my clients have diabetes, or had diabetes in my dad's case. And they follow the diet that is given them by the dietitian, the diabetic dietitian. But they don't get any better. They maintain maybe. Most of them don't lose weight, and most of them don't lower their blood sugars. They just maintain. Their blood sugars go up if they go off the diet, like by having 2 pieces of cake or an entire pizza, but they don't get healthier. They don't get rid of their diabetes. So for those people who are following the directives of their diabetic dietitians and their doctors who prescribe the diabetic dietitians and the American Diabetic Association diet as outlined on their website, they're doing the diet, but they don't get any better. They don't get rid of their diabetes. They maintain it at the level that it's at. They still have to take all the medications. They still have the possible future consequences of, their diabetes, but nothing doesn't change. So no, doing a diet doesn't always work if you follow it. Because
Well, and I actually, Elizabeth, I heard a word a long time ago. The word diet means to die with a T. And really it means that you go on something for a limited amount of time. The word diet literally means do this for a small amount of time and then you can stop it. So really, if we go on anything and you call it a diet, your immediate frame of mind is, I only have to do this for a short amount of time to get to my goal, and then I can go back to doing things the way I was before, which is how you got that way to begin with. So I think in the first place, we have to re-educate in that we need to stop using the word diet and start using, like he says, lifestyle change.
Yeah, but the thing is, if we tell people it's a lifestyle, we might confuse them a little bit. But maybe there's some other term, eating system or eating style or eating philosophy or food philosophy or whatever. Nutritional system, I don't know, but because But I mean, lifestyle is a good term in the sense that you're actually making a cultural change. It's not just a, you know, you're making a cultural change. It's not just, you know, changing what you eat, because it's recognizing that changing what you eat is actually changing your culture, and yes, it's changing your lifestyle. Yeah, yeah. But I just think that lifestyle might be a bit confusing to them at first. But if you say,
Yeah.
if you say a lot of people call it a diet, but it should really be thought of as a lifestyle, then I think, yeah, I think they might get that. Yeah.
But for some people, if I told them straight out to be healthy, to get over your diabetes and your hypertension and to lose weight, you're going to have to adopt this method of eating for the rest of your life, they'd be like, nah, can't do it. If you want me to
Yeah.
diet for a few months, okay, I can do that to improve. But if I have to adopt this as a complete lifestyle change for the rest of my life, I'm out. I'm not willing to try.
Yeah, and I've seen that as well. I think what has changed in my approach is I don't just, you know, bulldoze into it and say it that way. I say now, yes, a lot of people look at this as a diet, but I want you to think about something while you're doing this. If the way you've been eating all of this time has gotten you to the point you are now, what in your mind do you think is truly going to happen when you stop eating the way I'm encouraging you to eat
Right.
at this point? If you stop that process, you're going to go back to where you are because the way you ate before is how you got here. So
Yep.
eventually, this will more than likely, so rather than saying has to, I'll say more than likely will need to become a lifestyle change for you. But the only one who can make that decision will be you. I can give you the roadmap, but the final decision about whether this is a temporary or a permanent fix in your life is going to have to be you.
Yeah, I I like what he says here and how he explains that well, he didn't put it exactly this way, but we have disease of variety. We, as you know, mature society, able to get spaghetti from Italy and sushi from Japan and bread from Germany and everything, and huge grocery stores with anything you could want, you know, a Mexican area, you know, and
Yeah.
stuff, and restaurants from everywhere, all around us. I mean, you know, you go to a big city, you can eat Thai, you can eat Chinese, Japanese, Vietnamese. You can go to a Mongolian restaurant. You can go to a Ethiopian restaurant. I mean, a Persian restaurant. You can go to any kind of restaurant and have any kind of food you want. But by having all this variety, we have started to think we must have this variety, that this is the only way to eat, that I can't possibly eat eggs every day, you know?
Well,
I
the other
can't.
thing is, you know, when people talk about a healthy diet, one of the things they say is, you know, a healthy diet including a variety of healthy fruits and vegetables. You know, they talk about, and so, you know, part of part of our perception of what is a healthy diet is the food pyramid, you know, the USDA food pyramid. And but also, though, there's also this idea, this mantra of variety. because they say that, well, okay, there's a lot of different nutrients that you need. And so, so all of these different nutrients that you need, if you eat a variety of different food, then you're probably hitting all your bases, because you're, a variety of healthy foods, antioxidants in blueberries, and this or that in whatever other kind of food, and leafy vegetables and green vegetables, and and so part of our mindset, our healthy diet mindset, is not only the food pyramid that includes a huge overload of carbs, but also variety. And the other thing is, I mean, people have the mindset where, wow, I don't know what I want to eat. There's this, there's that, there's this, there's that. They list off 10 different things, and well, none of them really taste good. I want something different. And they're kind of bored with their food, and they want to spice it up, change it up, and have variety in what they eat. But because, yeah, it's true, we have all sorts of different things that are we have a huge choice of all sorts of different things that are available to us. Pretty much any type of movie you want to see. I mean, if you're on Amazon and Netflix and Hulu, there's pretty much any, and YouTube, between all those, you could watch pretty much any movie you want to watch, from here all the way back to the beginning of time, when movies were the beginning of the beginning of movies, and we have a variety of this, a variety of that. With online education, you can take a course in Mongolian Swahili taught by a Tibetan orangutan who lives in New Guinea, and we've got channels. I mean, cable TV. I mean, 57 channels and nothing on. That you could watch the stock report in Korean if you want.
Exactly.
Yeah, and so we've actually built up this whole mindset of variety equals good. But I think, and when I see the college students at the college, sometimes I get the feeling that the reason a lot of them, number one, don't really value college, and number two, have trouble deciding on a major and stuff, is that they have so much opportunity. I mean, there's so many different types of programs and majors and departments and courses they can take. They're kind of dazzled by all the variety, and they don't know what to choose because there's so much to look at. And if you go down the breakfast cereal aisle, I mean, there's probably 10 times more different types of breakfast cereal now than there were when we were kids. I mean,
Yeah.
just granola alone. I mean, there's probably 20 different types of granola. When we were kids back in the 70s, maybe there was one type of granola, and we liked it. And so, yeah, in so many different ways, we're a victim of our own success, because we've been able to create a society and a world where we have just so many choices, just so much variety of all sorts of different things that are available to us, and we have the mindset that is as it should be, and it's healthy and it's good. Variety of everything is good. Variety of movies, variety of television shows, variety of classes you can take, variety of jobs you can do, variety of groups you can join, and food as well, all sorts of huge variety of all sorts of things that you can eat, and we think that's good.
Yeah, and because we were raised this way, I mean, we just think that we have to eat these foods. I mean, I remember the food pyramid, from grade school, and my mother would say, oh, you have to eat your vegetables, and you got to have some bread or some rice or some potatoes with every meal. And she would send fruit with us every day at
Right. Yeah.
lunchtime.
Yeah. Yeah.
and
You
and
gotta have fruits and vegetables
and we would have fruit juice at breakfast so that we would get our
but
fruits
not too many
in.
eggs though, because that'd ruin your cholesterol.
No, but
Oh
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
we wouldn't have eggs, but maybe once a week, maybe twice a week, because that would give us terrible heart disease and cholesterol. And
And fatty food would make us fat.
yes, fatty food would make us fat. And yeah, I mean, everything was fat free. Everything's been fat free for decades now.
Right.
And
Well, I think one of the other things, Elizabeth, that you got me started on was you had me, long before we started keto, was you had me go in and do a test for my food sensitivities.
mhm,
And it's amazing to me how a good friend of mine who was told you need to quit eating this and this and this and this and eat more of salads and stuff like this, right? Well, she finally went in and had her food sensitivities test done and found out that she is absolutely allergic to darn near every style of salad out there. I mean, every kind of lettuce.
mhm,
And so she was actually causing systemic inflammation in her body for years because she was eating these big chef salads and couldn't figure out why she just wouldn't lose any weight at all, and finally got her food sensitivity done. So again, I think that's one of the things that, when, like you said, we need to go back to, just because I eat, say, eggs on keto, well, what if you're allergic to eggs? You might not be eating eggs on
right,
keto, even though it's a good
right.
one. So,
Yeah.
but it's that ability to look at what foods are not going to be high in sugars, are not going to be high in carbs, but that I can eat and I do enjoy eating. And so to me, that's what makes it so sustainable, is because I don't have to eat my keto diet the same way Scott does, or
Right.
the same way you do, or the same way, someone else does. I can eat keto the way that it works for me.
Mhm, yeah. So yeah, it's when I'm reading, I read some historical novels, and also historical works. And when they talk about the food they eat, it's they would go on a trip and they take a bunch of hard cheese with them and some cured meat and some apples, because apples keep quite a while. And maybe they would buy some goat's milk off of somebody, or they'd shoot another animal and cook it, or they catch some fish. And sometimes they would carry flour to make porridge or a biscuit or something, but that wasn't the biggest part of their food, of their diet.
Mm.
Meat and fish usually were. Milk, products made from milk, like cheese and butter and stuff. Um, and then whatever fruits they could pick or vegetables they could pick. But the vegetables were usually used to savor the meat,
Mhm.
like you would make a stew with carrots and potatoes and onions and maybe some cabbage or some celery or something. It wasn't, here, let's eat this to have a serving of, celery or whatever. So it's very different how our society has progressed in one way, that we have this variety, but also digressed because we now believe we have to eat the variety. I mean, I've had people ask me, so you don't eat any citrus? I'm like, no, I can't eat citrus. I'm sensitive to citrus, so I can't eat any citrus. And they're like, but where do you get your vitamin C? And
Yep,
I'm like, hello.
Yeah, like
A lot
that's
of,
the only place you're gonna get vitamin C.
well,
right. And yeah, and that's part of the mindset. Yeah.
that's the commercials on television, that have taught us that vitamin C only comes from oranges, and milk is the only place we can get calcium or vitamin D, and we have to have our little milk mustache to prove we've had our milk, you know. So it's very interesting what our modern society has done to our thinking of food and what food we have to have. And so anyway,
I think we've also become a society that wants things on an instantaneous basis. I don't want to have to work for it. I want it now, and it's like we're little toddlers. It's like we throw a temper tantrum if I don't see my weight loss in blah 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 amount of time, well then it's just not working. And that's not always true. I mean, one of the things when I got to a plateau that I remembered, as much as I already knew this, it was having someone like you, Elizabeth, that re-taught me this, is that, or talked me down off the ledge and said, while you're at this plateau, you're losing in other ways, and I realized that not only was I losing inches while I was plateaued, but I was gaining muscle mass because now that I wasn't quite as heavy, I was actually able to move more. Ergo, I'm starting to build a few more muscles in places I didn't know I had muscles. But it's the idea that if we don't get what we want instantaneously, then I don't want to do it. It's the same way. It's like most people would love to just take a magic pill and poof, lose weight, and that would be great, wouldn't it? But that's not a reality.
yeah,
The reality is we have to do it right.
magic pills many times end up kicking us in the tail end. And that's not very good. I want to recognize Christine and that she's here with us this week. At least I believe it's Christine on her iPhone. And Christine, we're discussing this week's myth from the book that we've been working through, and it was that diets always work if you follow them. And so that's how we got onto society and variety and all of that. Anyway, it's been a struggle to present to people. Immediately, people are very defensive of carbs, especially the grains of carbs. They can understand the sugar. Okay, I have to give up sugar, so no more ice cream and no more cookies and no more cake and maybe no more pie, even though it has fruit in it, which doesn't fruit pie count as a fruit serving. And I'm like, no, it doesn't. But the defense of grains is very big with people. And I explained to them that yes, grains are where we get a lot of our B vitamins and fiber, but fiber turns out not to be as essential or as important in the diet as we once thought. And the B vitamins can be gotten through other places, such as eggs. Eggs have a wonderful variety of B vitamins. They have folic acid and niacin and thiamine and one other, can't remember it. They're a great source and they're usually an economical source. Now, recently the price of eggs has gone up, but they're still a pretty good source. they have such eggs in one little package. They're a dynamo with the amount of vitamins and minerals they have in them. So it's
Yeah, and I've got that info at my fingertips here, and one large egg gives you 23% of your daily allowance of B12, 28% of your daily supply of selenium. Lots and a number of different amino acids, and some fats, some B2, 19% of your B2, and then a few other things, phosphorus and a few other things here and there. So it's they're pretty a good all around source of a lot of different nutrients.
But of course, a lot of people don't like eggs. Like I happen to have two daughters that don't like eggs. They just don't like them.
Yep.
Don't like the smell of them, don't like the look of them. They don't mind them in other products, such as
Right.
pancakes or a casserole or
Right.
something. But to eat them plain, you scramble them up and say, eat this. It's like, no, not gonna do that. So sorry. For those who don't want to eat eggs, I know that hamburger, turkey meat, pork, chicken, and beef steak, they all have B vitamins in them. I really, really thought before keto, before I met Dr. Boz, before I read her books, before I got Chronometer, I seriously thought that meat only had fat and protein in it. I didn't think it had anything else, fat and protein. That's all I thought. I didn't think of enzymes, which I know they're kinds of protein. Enzymes are protein. I didn't think of any amino acids, which are also types of protein. I just knew the word protein and the word fat. I didn't realize what those meant to the body's metabolism. And I didn't realize the vitamins that come along with a meat product, an animal meat product. And so it was very eye-opening to me. And the whole concept that fruit could be harmful was a huge new concept to me. When I saw that chapter in Dr. Boz's book about fruit is evil, I am like, okay, I think this woman's been smoking a little something, and I went into that chapter like, this woman's nuts. And this book is nuts. And if she really is nuts, but by the end of the chapter, I'm like, oh my goodness. All these years of pushing fruit on my children, just constantly. Make sure you have some grapes. Here are some strawberries. Oh, you need to have more watermelon. You didn't eat very much. Here's some oranges. Here's some peaches, pears, nectarines. Here's a plum. I'm like, oh, if I'd only known, just think of all the money we could have saved not feeding them fruit.
Oh, yeah.
But you don't know what you don't know until you realize, oh man, I didn't know that. So, and we can't go back and change history.
Well, I
So
think it's also important, and I was telling even one of my patients today that if even the grandmasters of any type of martial arts will tell you that number one, the grandmaster was always number one, very humble, but number two, they would tell you that they are still learning what they teach. I am still learning about dietary things, even though I teach holistic nutrition. I feel like if I am going to be the best teacher I can be, and not just the best individual for me, I have to constantly find myself in a state of learning, whether it's learning that's a no-no, don't do that, or wow, I should have been doing this. I should always be learning something. That I should never, acquire an attitude that I've learned everything I can on any one given subject. And I learned even here, Elizabeth, you say stuff and I'll go like going, where did you find that information? It's like I think I have finally found all this information on this subject, and then you'll pop off and say something. I'm like going, all right, well, where did you find that at?
Mhm.
So I think groups like this are extremely important because it's also a source of learning.
Mhm.
Because it's not just about what did I do. It's what can I learn from my people that are going through the same journey I am.
Mhm. Yeah.
And I think you give us lots of food to think about, as not just well, here's this piece of information, see ya. It's
Mhm.
let's dissect this piece of information. Now what do you think about it?
Mhm. Yeah, it's just difficult. You and I, Renee, we work with people, in our clinics. And we're working, with the modalities that we use, Chinese medicine and body talk and everything. And then when we bring in diet, and we buck the trend, we don't tell them 8 to 11 servings of grains a day, and 3 vegetables and 2 fruits a day, and everything. um it's hard for people to adjust their mindset because of the culture. I mean, come on, we just went through Thanksgiving, and what does everybody have
Yeah.
at Thanksgiving? Okay, they have a turkey. Most people have turkey. Maybe you'll have a ham. All right, those are keto friendly. But then here comes the sweet potatoes with all the little marshmallows on it and the brown sugar and everything. And then the mashed potatoes with the gravy and everything. And then the green bean casserole with the little breaded onion things on it, and the mushroom soup, and the dressing, or the stuffing, which is all bread. And then, of course, you got to have rolls, and you got the cranberry sauce, and then the pies, all the pies, the cherry pie and the pumpkin pie and the sweet potato pie and the pecan pie, my absolute favorite. And maybe you have a family that loves the chocolate pudding pie, like my sister's family. You can't have Thanksgiving without chocolate pudding pie, you know. I mean, the Thanksgiving meal is a keto disaster. I mean, it is a carb super overload. I mean, we should total up how many carbs are in the traditional Thanksgiving dinner. Oh, that could be fun.
Oh, I would love to see what you come up with.
Yeah, we should
It would be
figure that
probably
out.
pretty mind blowing.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, wow, yeah. Because, and of course, there's other things people have. I mean, there are people that always have macaroni and cheese with Thanksgiving because the young kids don't want to eat dressing or whatever. And there's deviled eggs, which are very keto friendly, and stuff. But yeah, I mean, it's mind blowing. Just the thought of Thanksgiving dinner. And then
We'd have to figure out, well, are you going to do one serving of everything, like one serving of turkey, one serving of stuffing?
I think that would be enough, don't you think? I
Yeah,
mean,
and by the way,
I would love to see what it would be just with one serving of everything.
right.
God forbid going back for second.
Yeah, and by
yeah.
the way, keto chronometer has several types of stuffing. They've got
Oh,
white bread stuffing. They've got white bread stuffing that's homemade and white bread stuffing from a mix. oyster dressing stuffing, which I've never heard of.
Well, I
Stuffing
have.
with
Yeah.
giblets and vegetables.
Mhm.
Rice
Hey,
stuffing.
what if we did like stovetop stuffing?
Here you go. That's
You
Yeah, I
average.
don't know if they do stovetops. Yeah, I'll see.
Yeah,
Tonometer has stovetop.
yeah, they probably do, and then your cranberry jelly, from a can.
Yeah, they've
Yeah.
got stovetop stuffing. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. One serving stovetop stuffing. How many carbs?
Do you want it with turkey, chicken, or pork?
Oh,
Um,
turkey chicken, because that's going
Turkey
to
or
be the more
chicken? Yeah.
normal.
Okay, stovetop stuffing mix with turkey. And I don't know what they mean by that. I guess you're putting some turkey meat in the stuffing. I don't know.
Mhm.
Um, okay, so, and you want to know what about it? How many carbs?
Carbs. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so well, there's 21 total carbs in one serving of that.
Oh
So
my
one
God.
serving is 28 grams and 21 grams of that is carb.
Oh
Okay.
my
How
gosh.
much is 28 grams? Is that like a tablespoon or?
28 grams is exactly 1 ounce.
Oh, nobody eats 1 ounce of stuffing. Come on.
Well, that's what I'm asking. I mean, how many servings do
But
you think
I
you would
would
do?
think any red-blooded American is gonna eat at least a half a cup of stuffing, don't you think?
Yeah.
Try a cup.
Oh, Renee wants a cup. Renee's into a cup.
Are
Hey,
they,
I watched how we did our plates up, and trust me, no one ever had a half a cup of anything unless it was
Okay.
something you didn't like. It was usually a cup of this and a cup of that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
cup.
you always had to have two plates because your
Yeah.
first plate was full of certain foods, and then your
right.
plate was too full. So your second plate was actually 1 cup servings of all the stuff you couldn't get the first time around because it wouldn't fit on your plate.
Yeah.
Well, the way I used to do it was I would have a plate. Oh, hello. Go ahead, Christine. The way I used to do it is I'd have 2 plates. I put a little salad, a few of the deviled eggs. I get the side of the green beans and a little bit of the sweet potatoes
Now, the problem
and a
here,
roll.
the
Wait a
problem
minute, and a
here,
roll. Then on the other plate, you put all your stuffing,
yeah,
your cranberry jelly, your turkey, your ham, and your mashed potatoes and gravy.
what I'm running into though is that well, as far as I can see, the new way to do chronometer is that you can't, they limit the volume of or weight of stuff that you can actually choose.
Oh,
And
well,
so
maybe it's because you don't have the full thing. I have the full
possibly,
thing on my
but the thing
phone.
is, so I can do ounces. Do you want, I mean,
Okay, but how many ounces in a cup? 8
Yeah.
well, of liquid, but
of
see,
liquid.
that's liquid. With stuffing, is it? Well, I mean, stuffing would be roughly as dense as a like water, I would think.
Yeah,
I'm going to go 8 ounces.
okay.
Yeah. Okay. So that's oh, by the way, in 8 ounces of stuffing, you get 132% of your daily allowance of sodium. Just to throw that out there.
Just a mere
Yeah,
100.
just to mention that, just to throw that out
Yeah,
there.
okay.
Yeah, and then 170 grams of carbohydrate.
Jeez Louise.
170 grams.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh.
I think I'm going to have to open up when we get done here, I may have to sit down tonight and write up a typical Thanksgiving / Christmas meal, and I'm
Right.
going to put out, as far as the servings, and then I'm going to
Mhm.
put the number of carbs off to the side. And I think it's going to be mind blowing when I'm able to show this to my patients that are on keto. They're going to go, oh my gosh.
Yeah, very bad. 100. Oh my goodness. Oh my
And we
goodness.
wonder why we go into what's called the Thanksgiving coma after we eat the meal.
Well,
Yep.
they've always blamed that on turkey having tryptophan, you know?
Right.
I mean, that is part of it, don't get me wrong, but I mean, you eat that much carb and sugar, your body kind of goes into a sugar overload.
Okay, okay. Well, that brings up another idea. Um, pumpkin pie.
Oh my
Pumpkin
goodness,
pie,
she's
one
looking at pumpkin
piece.
pie.
Pumpkin pie. Wow, it doesn't have very many vitamins and minerals and stuff.
So how many carbs, Miss Elizabeth?
Well, I'm working on it.
Oh, of course, we've got to put our Cool Whip topping on it too.
Oh my goodness.
But it would be fat free.
Of course, we can't have it with fat.
Yes.
Because fat makes us fat. Haha.
Okay,
Yeah.
with no whipped topping or anything, one piece of pie, one slice of pie, 53 carbs.
Yep.
Golly.
2.5 days worth of carbs.
Yep.
Holy Pete.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Nothing to say about what it does to your sugars or anything. Mashed potatoes, 1 cup of mashed potatoes. Is 54 carbs. Okay. You add all this together, it's going to be bad. But yeah, it's kind of fun to think about. But, those are our traditional meals. And, maybe what would be useful, Renee, for you and I, and maybe even for Scott, is to figure out some typical meals people have, like Mexican taco meal, and they have a
Sure.
soda and everything with it. Figure out the carbs that's in that meal, and be able to show people how many carbs they're taking in each day, because a lot of people don't think they eat very many carbs.
Yeah.
For me personally, when I started looking at the number of carbs I was eating, I was like, ah!
Yeah.
And
Because
you could go to like lean cuisine dinners, because
Mhm.
a lot of people will think, well, they'll either eat lean cuisine meals for lunch, or at least they'll think, well, that's healthy.
Mhm.
If I wanted to eat healthy, I'd eat a lean cuisine meal for
Yeah, but
lunch.
those have a lot of carbs too,
And a
so
lot of sodium too, probably.
yeah, a lot of
Oh, they
sodium.
are really high in sodium.
Yeah, those are really high in sodium. And so, yeah, anyway, well, we are a little bit after 8. And so, anybody have any questions or other comments or anything that you would like to have said?
Oh, hello, it's Connie's
Oh,
here.
it's Connie. Oh, I thought your name was Christine. I'm
Oh, you were close. I know when you were saying it, I was thinking, is she talking about me? I wasn't sure. I don't know if you guys had watched, Dr. Boz's YouTube this week, where she, selling her new product for, ketones, to bring your ketones up. And I was just curious, if you guys, how high your ketones are. Like, is it important to you to have them at a certain amount? I mean, I obviously, with the holidays, if you had splurged, I think this product's good. I was just curious. Sometimes I always feel like, should we really be getting all these products and taking them? I was just kind of curious what anyone's thoughts were on it, if they're using them.
Okay, so for me, I am not able to watch her show on Tuesday nights. I watched it faithfully on Sunday nights, but Tuesday nights are not a good night for me. So I don't typically get to watch it until sometime during the weekend. So,
Okay.
but I did see on the Facebook page that, she is advertising something. I wasn't sure what it was. But for me, I have a number of food sensitivities and allergies. And if it has stevia in it, I can't use it. If it's got erythritol or whatever it is, another one of the sugar substitutes, I can't do that either. And I am sensitive to coconut anything. So I don't do the MCT oils. I don't do the BHB except for in the capsule form, but I don't do a lot of them.
Okay.
I'm a person that doesn't typically take substitutes or something to boost something, because of my sensitivities. My usual ketone level is just above 1, like 1.2 or 1.3, 1.4. Unless I've cheated, then it's down to 0.5 or 0.2, but it usually sticks just above 1, and I'm happy there. Now, a lot of people like to try and get it up to 4 or even 5 and stuff. I don't even know how I would do that unless I just started eating lard and nothing else. And by the way, I'm not about to do that. um, be, just because of the food restrictions I have. Now, I know a lot of people use the MCT oil to help their ketones get up there. And I know a number of people use the BHB, especially if they're planning a cheat, like a Thanksgiving meal or a wedding they're going to and stuff. But I don't personally have the freedom to do that. Renee, what about you?
Um, one of the things that we talk about a lot in the Chinese philosophy is that it's better to get things from your natural diet. And what the philosophy is, even regarding acupuncture itself, for instance, is if I'm seeing progress, then I should not be adding in an herbal supplement. If I am seeing progress, I shouldn't be adding in a pharmaceutical. So, in other words, work with what the body is telling you. Sometimes the best approach is to let your body do it at a slower pace rather than trying to bump it up with something else. Now, that's not to say that, like Elizabeth was saying, using it on a temporary basis to kind of, like, if you know you're going to be coming up to a cheat day and you want to help, I think those are good. I've not really tried a whole lot of them myself, mainly because I just can't afford them. But I do think that trying them out on a limited basis and seeing if they are beneficial to you is one thing. But I wouldn't go into it with the mindset that I'm going to do this and it's going to be my quote savior to fix my ketones level. And again, I'm not one that I'm shooting for it, kind of like Elizabeth said, I'm not shooting for it to go to a 3, 4, 5, whatever that is. My philosophy is at the level, wherever my ketone level is, as long as I am seeing weight loss, then I'm doing things right.
Yeah, thanks. Sounds good.
Yeah. Um, I have nothing against anybody who uses them and stuff.
Not at
Absolutely
all.
nothing, you know. And it's, this whole keto journey is a very personal thing. Like we were talking about earlier, various cultures around the world, value vegetarianism more than we do here in the United States. For me, vegetarianism led to anemia. Um, and I had to not be a vegetarian after being a vegetarian for like 24, 25 years, because my body was not getting enough protein, enough nutrients from a vegetarian diet. Um, I also found out later that I'm sensitive to milk products. You'd think maybe I'd go vegan, but I can't go vegan, but I live a, a carnivore vegan lifestyle because I can't have any milk products, but I eat meat, you know. So it's a very personal thing. I am interested in what she's developed because there are a lot of keto products out there,
Oh yeah.
drink this drink and you'll be keto and stuff. And I have a girlfriend just that lives about an hour away from me, and she saw how much weight I had lost with keto, and she's like, "Oh, I got to lose weight. My daughter's getting married." And she started drinking all these keto drinks and eating all these keto bars, and she thought she was doing keto. Not so much, because she was still eating her regular diet.
Well,
Yeah.
and then the other problem is even the ones that are labeled keto friendly. I picked up one the other day in the grocery store, and I was like, "One, this is no more keto friendly than me going out and eating a hunk of whatever." It had like 17 carbs. I'm like, that's almost every carb I can eat for an entire day, and it was just for one little tiny piece of whatever this was. I'm like, "One, that's not keto friendly." To me, it wasn't.
No, and
Um,
then you get into the whole net carb thing,
oh,
like, oh, because we have 17 grams of fiber, you don't have to count those 21 grams of carbs. I
right.
mean, we're trying to fool ourselves,
Well, I
so
told the patient earlier today, Elizabeth, and I said, if you really want to look at this where it says total carbs versus net carbs, in my opinion, is for the person who wants to do what's called dirty keto. Because you're not truly eating on the keto diet. The keto diet, if you're wanting to lose weight, you need to be at 20 carbs or less per day. And probably not even less than that, because it can really mess with your metabolic system. But even at 45 carbs, let's say you had 45 carbs in your day, you might still lose weight, but you're not going to lose it at a rapid pace for certain. But the problem is people get this idea that, well, I've only had 20 net carbs, wow, and then they look at their total carb load, which was actually almost 100. And they can't figure out why they're not losing weight very fast. And I said, the
mhm,
problem is they're not looking at the total amount of carbs. You have to look at the whole thing.
mhm, yeah. So Connie, does that answer that for you?
Yeah. Yeah, it does. Thank you.
Anything else?
Connie,
No,
since I've not met you before, how long have you been on your keto journey? I've actually been on mine almost 2 years now.
yeah, I had done like a dirty keto probably about 3 years ago. I had done it for about 2 years and lost like 30 pounds, but then got stalled out. And then during COVID, I had like just slowly but surely got back to where I was eating too many carbs, and I put on that 30 pounds. And it took me a while. At the beginning of this year, January, I guess I should say, I got back on track. And so I did Dr. Boz's course in March is when I did it, but I've done really well since and when I did her course, I had been listening to her forever. And I felt like when I did the course, I didn't really learn anything new. But I've done well since I've done the course. So it was well worth me doing it, and I try to listen in on some of these groups. It keeps me motivated. And, you hear things that other people do, gives me ideas, or, just tells me something I might not have thought about before. But I have lost 30 pounds this year. 60 pounds is really my goal, so I'm like halfway there. So I'm hoping, like, right now, if I can just stay where I'm at till the end of the year, and then next year, if I could do another 30 pounds, I'd be very happy. But we'll see, because you know how them last weight is always the hardest. But I'm just so happy that I had because I felt like, I mean, for a good year, I think, before I went back on keto, I kept trying to get back on it, and I just was, just wasn't doing it. Just was eating too many carbs. I was kind of doing one of them things where you eat keto every day and then have some carbs on the weekend, and I just, was screwing up my system. It wasn't
Yeah.
working. But I
Yeah.
finally got on
Well,
track, and I've
congratulations.
done well. So I'm just, trying to stay the course, and of course, there's always things like, I know I can cut back some carbs here and there. And I know as I go along, I'm going to have to get stricter with it to get the rest of my weight off. And I actually got one of my medications they cut in half. They told me to cut it in half. So I'm very happy about that. I'm still on my blood pressure pills, but they told me to cut my fluid pill in half because my blood pressure had gone down in the last 6 months, and they didn't want me changing the blood pressure. They said the fluid pill they felt was better for me to reduce. So I'm real happy about that. At least getting something cut down a little bit.
Yeah, that's a
Well, it
big
sounds like
win.
you're doing great, a great job. I'm
Mhm.
proud of you. My journey, I have a lot more to lose than you do. But it is a like we've been saying, a journey, and you're going to have those moments when you kind of backtrack a little bit, but I think you've got the right mindset to just keep yourself, get yourself back on track. If you mess up, you mess up, but you have to let it go and just keep moving forward. And just from what you've said, I think you'll make your goal. I really do.
Yeah, I'm sure of
Oh,
it too.
thanks.
Yeah.
It helps having these groups like you guys to listen to. It's, nice how you do that. One of these days, maybe I'll do that. Not there yet, though.
Yeah. Well, Scott and I started this group to try and help me stay the course. I met Dr. Boz and her work 2 years ago this month, and I was all of a sudden motivated to, I'm going to clean up my life and I'm going to clean up my health because I'm turning 60 and not getting any younger, and I need to do something. And really doing keto has helped me so much. Before I started keto, my liver was hurting. It was a fatty liver. I had liver enzymes that were nearly through the roof, and my kidneys were already starting showing signs of early kidney disease. And I was right on the edge with diabetes. Wasn't technically diabetic yet, but I was right on the edge. And doing keto has reversed those three things. And I lost 100 pounds. I have another 80 I need to lose. And I hope I can do that. I kind of got stymied when I had COVID and have struggled since then. But hey, I'm happy with all that keto has given me and all that I've been able to reverse in my life. And I want to continue it. And even though my husband is a skinny dude, he read her books too and decided to go keto as well. And it's improved health things with him as well. And so keto has been very helpful to us. And we plan to stay the course and try and help others. And part of doing that is this group. It helps us stay the course and remember why we're doing this and everything. So anyway, well, with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn off the recording, and we will call it a night.